Welcome to Papa's Workshop. Well, the results are in. Based on the comments that I received on the tool stand that I made for that joiner stand, 100% of the people said, build a drawer. In addition to that, many people also commented and said, add a shelf at the bottom. So today, it's exactly what I'm going to do. And the drawer is going to be able to slide out from either side. So that's going to give much more versatility to this tool cabinet. So let's get started. I want to show you how I built it today. The basic design for this is just a very simple face frame with the blocks at the end, and only a portion of this is going to be shown because the strip of wood already come down that make up the stand itself. The top piece of this face frame is already in place when I built the tool cabinet. So now the only thing that's going to happen is I'm going to need to create some runners. And I'm just going to join two pieces of plywood together. I'm going to put those in place just like this for the drawer to be able to slide on it. I will put a center runner in there just to make sure that the drawer has the support that it needs. And I'm going to put a piece on the top so that the drawer won't tilt too much and just fall out. This face frame is going to be duplicated on both sides exactly the same. That way, I'll be able to slide the drawer and have it a pass-through drawer and be able to gain access to either side of the tool cabinet. Now I have the first frame in place, and this is that 4.5-inch block from each side, and it slides all the way back to this other side of the leg, and that's on both sides. This piece across the top was already in place when I built the tool stand. I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Add a little glue. Just slide that right into place, just like that. Put the clamp on it just to temporarily hold it. And we'll nail it in place. Wipe off the excess glue. That's done. We'll do the same thing with this piece now. The first face frame is now completed, so I'm just going to move over to the other side and do the same thing. Now I'm going to go ahead and prepare the rails real quick that this drawer is going to slide on. And all I need is just a layer of glue like that, and they're going to slide together. So with that even, and I want to make sure that's flush there. Now the runners just slip right in here, and they're going to be flush on both sides of this face frame, and then just nailed in. I want this piece in the center. So I'll put a little bit of glue on the end, catch both ends here. At this point, everything is completed. The side runners are in and attached to the face frame. The center rail is in as well, as of course the top one to be able to help support the drawer. And the rails are in on this side also. All that's left now is just to build a drawer. This time we're going to go back into the app, and we're going to go to the Boxmaker Classic again, but we're going to do something totally different. This time we're going to make a drawer instead of a box. So for the width that I want to be able to have on this, I'm going to make this 21 1/4. As far as the height, this is going to be 14 1/4. And as far as the depth is going to be 5 inches. Overall, this drawer height is going to be 4 inches, but we're using a 1/2 inch piece of plywood to be able to make it. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in right now. And we're going to remove the tabs. So this 5-inch drawer with the tabs on it is going to actually be 4 inches when it's finished. And I'll show you that in just a moment. As far as the tab length, I'm going to make it fairly aggressive. We're going to do this at 2 inches. And from there, I'm going to import this in. Yes, it's larger than my area. That's okay. Now for this design, and I'm going to zoom out here a little bit, I am not going to need the bottom or the top of this box. So for those two, we're going to go ahead and cut and delete. Now, all that's left are the 4 sides. I'm going to make some changes to each of these sides. So from that standpoint, I'm going to go ahead and cut one of each one. And then when we're done with the modifications, then I'll copy and duplicate it. From this standpoint here, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this 90 degrees. And I'm going to make it where it's going to be easier to see. So let me just move this down, right down into this area for now. So now I have 2 sides that are left. Let's zoom in so you can see what's going to be happening. What I want to do is remove the tabs off of the top and the bottom. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more so that you can see it clearly. So what I'm going to do is highlight this first one, and I'm going to go right here to the edit nodes, and you can see the nodes pop in. Now I'm going to click on the first one, and I'm just going to hit delete, and you notice that it goes right to the next one and then it drops. So let's try this down here. I'm going to go from this one, we'll delete it, and delete it. So if you notice, if I come from one direction or the other, I don't have to keep clicking on the node. All I need to do is just go ahead and hit delete. And that leaves me with this one right here, and I need to delete that. Now I have a straight line. I'm going to do the exact same thing at the bottom. We'll start with the first one, and it's going to do the same thing. It no longer is showing, so let's start down here at this end. So I'll delete, delete, delete. And this is a real easy process to do. You just got to know which end to start with, and that's a little bit of the trial and error. But now I have one piece finished. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with this other one. And there's my straight line. Now I have tabs in here. I actually think I'm going to leave the tabs. Now at this point, we deleted the drawer bottom. And the reason being is I'm going to use a piece of 1/4 inch to be able to do the drawer bottom. So what I need is a groove in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a groove into the bottom of this drawer. Now this drawer side was 21 1/4 inches. So I'm going to go back up to this shapes menu. At the shapes menu, I'm going to select a rectangle. This rectangle I need to have right up here. We're going to go ahead and click on this so I can set it at the 21.25, and I want this at 0.3 of an inch. So that gives me a very thin groove. To be able to place it in here, I need to have it exact. So what I will do now is to highlight just the drawer side itself. I'm going to have the bottom left-hand corner, and I'm going to put this at the 0, point. That way I know it's exactly right down here. Then I'm going to select this groove that I have, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, but this time it's selected at the bottom left-hand corner. I want the x-axis to be at 0 also. but I want to be able to raise this up just a little bit. Now this is 0.3 of an inch, and I want to be able to have this come off of the bottom about 1/4 of an inch. So I need to have this on the y-axis at 0.25. And that is going to give me this one right here. Now this length was wrong. Let's type this in again. 21.25 inches. And now we have it. So let's zoom in and take a look at it. Now if you look at this cut line, in fact what I want to do, it'll be a little bit easier to see if I slide that over a little bit now. There we go. So let's slide this over. You can see when this is cutting the project out, it's leaving this tab. I don't want that tab because it's cutting the slot, but it's not going all the way down. The easiest way to fix it is to highlight the groove and the edit menu, send it backwards. In fact, I need to send it all the way to the back. And when I send it to the back, it clears that out. So when it cuts it out, it will be gone and the groove will be the only thing that is there. And that's what I'm looking for. The other side will be taken care of also. If I take it and slide it over onto this area so that you can see it, you can see that this looks exactly the same. And that's what I want. That's going to give me the groove. Now with this one on the side of the drawer, we're going to do the same exact thing. But let's just go ahead and put the dog bones in first. The dog bones in here. There we go. There's my dog bones, 1/8 inch bit, so we're good. So we're going to take that. That's my dog bones. This is the original. So we'll cut it. We'll take this on up. And now I need to duplicate this one. So I'm going to hit Control-C and Control-V. I need to change the size of it. If you remember, this length was 14 1/4. These are the tabs of 1/2 inch on each side. So I need this at 13 1/4. I already have it at the 0.3, so that is good. Now I need to do the same thing. I need to position this bottom corner at an exact coordinates. So I'm going to go ahead and put this at the 0 on the x-axis, and I'm going to put it on the 5 on the y-axis. With this one now, we're going to do the same exact thing, but I can't have this on the 0. It has to be 1/2 inch over. So this is going to be at 0.5, and this will be 5.25 above this. So that puts it exactly where it needs to be. Now while we have it here, let's go ahead and send it to the back, and then we'll double check it. And if we look at that, we can see that's exactly what we want. And we'll bring the tabs down to the 2 also. Same routine. Just grab this tab, slide it around, and grab this tab and slide it around. So that all looks good. It's a weird shaped piece of plywood that I have, but this is literally the only piece of the 1/2 inch plywood that I have left. And I am going to use the glue and the tape method to be able to hold this down in addition to the tabs. But because I'm using the dust boot today, I want to have the surface free and clear. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the machine now, and we're going to get this ready to be able to carve. Now this says 1 hour and 16 minutes to be able to carve. We are not going to do that. We're going to do manual cut settings. We're going to do the feed rate of 100 inches per minute. And we're going to do the plunge rate. We'll leave that there. And we're going to increase this at I'm going to try it at 0.05. And we don't need the offset. We don't need any of that. Now let's go ahead and simulate that again. Now it's down to 30 minutes to be able to carve it. Well, let's see what it's actually doing. And we can click on this box here, remove the material, and let's look at this. We'll be able to carve that very easily. And this is going to be, because it's a 1/4 inch or 0.3 of an inch, that will be able to carve it. Okay, so that looks good. If we want to become a little bit more aggressive, I can go ahead and carve this at a 0.1, and we can remove the material on this after I simulate it. And let's look at this again. We'll remove the material, and you can see that's what it looks like. And I think with the upgrade, I think this machine will be able to handle that. So now it's down to 17 minutes to be able to carve. So let's put the material back in there, and let's go ahead and set it up. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I can take this entire project and I am going to rotate it by coming right here, and I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees because it's going to be easier to set up on the machine doing it this way. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and change the material size to the 2815. It's still a 1/2 inch thick. I'm going to go ahead and center this to the material by clicking on that. That takes care of it. Real quick, easy fix. And that's going to be a lot easier to be able to set up on the machine and be able to carve. I am using the bottom left-hand corner as my XY0 position. Now there is one thing more I want to do. I want a handle. This drawer is going to be a slide through. I want to be able to put a hole in here to be able to grab hold to it. So I'm going to slide this back up here. We're going to highlight this one, and I'm going to cut it for now. That way I'm going to put one hole in here. So I'm going to get a square for this rectangle. Select that right here. We're going to just bring it right up into this area. And I think what I'm going to do is make this width at about, let's just make it 3.5 inches on the x-axis. We'll make it 1 inch on the y-axis, and I also want to put a radius on here. The radius, since this is 1 inch, let's put the radius at 0.5, and that makes a nice circle. Okay, so where is the center? The center of this is at 16.265. So if I put this at 16.265, that will put it directly into the center. And as far as the height, right now, if I look at this, if I put this down at the bottom left-hand corner, on the y-axis, it's 5.529, excuse me. If I have this 1 inch from the top, I can select this, and I can put this at 6.529. I also want to change this, and I don't want it to create a pocket. I'm going to change this where it cuts it out. We're going to cut it on the inside, just like this, and of course I want it cut all the way through. We're going to leave this with 2 tabs, and I'm going to get it off of the curve, one there, and slide it right over there, that will be good. Now I'll highlight everything, hit Control C and Control V. We'll slide that back into position. And there we go. All done. So I have this all set up with my tape. All I need to do is put the glue down. All right, we'll put the glue down. All right, we'll put the accelerator on this. That looks good. Going from an hour and 16 minutes down to 17 minutes is a significant difference. Now this is starting out doing that pocket, and it's handling the extra speed and the depth of cut with no problems whatsoever. Now if you use the dust boot like I'm doing in this video, you have to be very careful where you place the clamps. That's why I like the glue and the tape method so much. Now in this case, because this is such a large project, I went ahead and put a screw in that top left corner, and I did put a clamp in the bottom right hand corner, which is totally clear of where the dust boot is going to be traveling. You can see it cut out the pocket for the handle, and again, this machine does not have any type of extra movement. There is no chattering. It is handling the 100 inches per minute with no problem. In fact, I could probably have increased the speed still further. But I want to be able to take this in baby steps and just see how this machine handles it. So far, so good. When you're using the dust boot, you have to be careful with the clamps. Now this clamp was out of the way, and this was just a little bit of extra insurance for my glue and tape method because this was so large. But I put a screw in this corner right here because the dust boot would have interfered and caused a problem. So you really have to check things out and make sure that you do not have any obstacles in the way when you're using the dust boot. Now this glue and tape method worked just fine. It held real good, but I wanted just that little bit of extra insurance just in case on a project this large. Came out really, really nice. These all held down very well. This is only going to take just a small bit of sanding to be able to have it ready to glue together. Now as far as the hole for the handle itself, I'm just going to use a little 1/4 inch roundover with the trim router, and that is it. So here it is all finished. I think it turned out quite nice. I like the shelf at the bottom, I like the drawer, and I like being able to have access to both sides. Thank you for watching today, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next project that I do, whatever that may be.